40 years ago, the Evergreen State College was founded as a place where people from across the country can come to receive an alternative education, one that often challenges the dominant narratives of society. But Evergreen is also a state school that must abide by the laws and policies that govern it. Thus, Evergreen has its feet in both worlds, an idyllic vision and an often stark reality. These worlds would seem to be at odds when dealing with the issue of police presence at Evergreen. Is there conflict on police-related issues? How do these issues affect safety at Evergreen? And what can be done to mitigate any discord in the community? We will begin to explore these questions through the perspectives of Evergreen community members.
I have had a few run-ins with police in other places.
Police kind of annoy me in some respects.
In real life, the police aren't there to do anything more than fine you and possibly arrest you because it's a monetary system.
With other police, I guess like regular city police, you always see them patrolling.
That's almost an oppressive thing. If you have police walking by, every 15 minutes, it limits, whether you notice it or not, it limits what you do, what you feel like you can do.
But as soon as you step off the campus and you get into the zone of the real police officers, I guess you'd say, it's terrible.
A lot of communities have a lot of very powerfully negative relationships with the police. Poor communities, communities that are poor and of color in the United States and all over the world, and so a lot of folks don't necessarily see the police as the first places to help. A lot of people are dealing with police in their lives as forces that really inflict and harm, and cause great divisions.
I've been active in many social movements going back to the 1960s, anti-Vietnam War, anti-police brutality, a lot of economic and social justice movements. I teach political economy and economics at Evergreen, and I've had, some pretty negative experiences, including a group set up by the FBI shooting into my house. I've been arrested many times and charged with things that I didn't do.
Another factor has been that when our students have been involved while in Olympia with interactions both on and off campus. Sometimes the things that happen off campus, interactions with police in particular, or when off-campus police have come to this campus, have been sources of tension and disagreement and conflict.
The only time that I started getting the negative vibe is when there's an event taking place where it's specifically designed for negative feelings, or they are learning to riot, and they have conferences here where they go over how to do the proper sit-ins and stuff, and obviously there's an environment there that's not real trusting of police, and you get negative situations like that.
In 2008, after there'd been a lot of problems with the Olympia police at some demonstrations against the U.S. war in Iraq and Afghanistan purport, and then there was a concert here, and the police, campus police, one of the campus police, she unjustly tried to arrest a person who, I think mainly because he was black. And then the sheriffs came on campus, and it turned into a pretty big rebellion. A police car got overturned and so on.
It seems that Evergreen community members generally have negative perceptions of outside police. Do they have the same views of campus police?
So far the only experience that I've had with the campus police is the discussions I've had with them while talking to them in the office over there by my parking pass and seeing them drive around and such and so forth.
I haven't had too much experience with the campus police other than seeing them around.
My experience with campus police is pretty much distance, watching them do their job and not really interacting with them beyond, them kind of ushering crowds around when there's a lot of us. They're for the most part really polite and nice compared to other police, but they're so nosy and just kind of authoritative in a way. I mean, we're all here to learn. We're not here to start a riot, and I mean, we're paying a great deal of money here to be here, so I feel that some of their invasiveness is just unnecessary, and just to keep their presence known amongst the students.
I have had almost no interaction with campus police except going in to get my parking permit, and I see them in student services. I never see them on campus.
My experience with the police here at Evergreen has been pretty good. Actually, I've been busted a couple times, and they don't really care as long as you're with someone.
Well, last year I had a couple grievances I got from drinking and loud noises. Every time the cops came through, it wasn't scary. It wasn't what I expected. They were always polite, cordial, throwing a joke here and there. Actually, after a couple of the grievances, I ran for student office, and then I became closer with them, and even in student office, I got a couple more grievances. But they were very understanding. They weren't mean about anything. They never looked down at me. They were very human about everything. So I'm not friends with them, I would say, but I know them on a name-to-name basis, and we throw jokes, so we're acquaintances. But it's always been positive.
My experience with campus police has been kind of mixed, actually. I've had good experiences with them. They've helped me with some problems with some people, but at the same time, I had an issue. Someone had assaulted me, and they didn't do anything about it because it was too late, apparently.
Well, I don't have an extraordinary amount of experience with the campus police, except for their sort of presence as somewhat of a mild disciplining agent. That they're uniformed and that there's a police car and then there's a roving Segway at times.
Well, my experience with campus police is that they're all just really nice old people with a shelf full of snacks.
My experience with the campus police has been majorly positive because I haven't really been involved in anything here. Like, I got a grievance, but that wasn't really about the police.
So, community members appear to not have had a great deal of experience with campus police. We decided to go directly to the campus police to get to the heart of the issue.
We are just as much a part of this community as the people we serve. And the officers care just as much as the people that live here and work here.
Because at the end of the day, every police officer here, our primary mission of police is not to arrest people and take their pot away. It's not to give escorts or go out and kiss hands and shake babies and do jump starts. We do all those things. Well, kissing babies with permission, of course. But our primary mission is to protect the public from violent offenders. When someone is trying to hurt you or is hurting you physically, who's going to stop them? Is your faculty member going to come running over and stop a guy with a gun or a knife? Some do. But it's going to be us, right? At the end of the day, every police officer who works here knows that stopping a violent offender is something that we may have to do today. We never know when. But we're prepared to do that. So I would hope that people would keep that in mind, that whatever your opinion of police, when someone becomes violent on campus, who's going to come running? Right? It's going to be us.
Yes, we give a damn. There isn't a student on this campus that I wouldn't give my life for. Not a one. And there's some of them that I've had words with, even through the front desk just as a dispatcher. But don't think if they came in that lobby bleeding and hurt bad that I wouldn't get right up and go out in that lobby and start administering first aid to them. Because that's my job.
Wow. Awesome.
I mean, how much more explicit can I be? And there isn't an officer in this department that wouldn't do the same thing I just told you.
We have heard campus police articulate their strong commitment to safety. We have also heard community members express their general lack of interaction with campus police. So, is there really any tension in the community about the issues presented?
I think that there have always been tensions and concerns at Evergreen, in my experience, which now is well over 17 years here combined. Early on, what I really heard was a sense that Evergreen was an idealized community where police or firearms should not be a place that a part of that community were some of the arguments that were made at that particular point in time. There, I think, was true that there was suspicion about law enforcement for reasons I think that didn't necessarily occur as far as our own officers were concerned, but were attitudes and beliefs that people brought to the campus. But early on, in the end of the 80s, there was a real sense that Evergreen was a place that could solve its own problems. And it really wasn't until, I know it was interesting for me when I came at the turn of the late 80s, I could see that we were a community that was no longer in isolation, given the kinds of incidents that occurred, the people that came onto the campus, some of the issues that increasingly that the security officers had to deal with, both in the dorms and in the proximity of the hotel, and to the apartments across the way.
1984, April of 1984. We had a student, that's the only shooting that we've had on this campus that I'm aware of in all the years I've been here. We had a female student who was breaking off a relationship with a gentleman, and he couldn't deal with it, and he came on campus one morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, and shot her 7 times in the cab building. Walked out of the cab building, and he had dilly-dallied around too long in the cab building because he thought he was going to go out and jump right on bus 41 and leave campus. But he was in the cab building too long, and the bus pulled away, and he was still standing here. He laid the gun down, and it was one of those fortunate days where Thurston County deputy was working motorcycle traffic on the Evergreen Parkway. His response time to Red Square was 2 minutes and 30 seconds. A fortunate thing, because who knew what this guy was capable of doing after what he just did in the cab building.
And obviously it's a horrible, horrible thing. You know, the issue of domestic violence is just a horrible issue of male violence toward women is a really serious issue. But I always ask, how would it have mattered? If the cops had been armed, so I think somebody said, he'll say, wait till the cops come, I won't shoot till the cops come. It wouldn't have stopped the killing. And I just think, again, that incident is always used.
But that isn't the only scenario we've had where someone was on campus with a gun. In 1988, we had 2 subjects come into B dorm attempting to retrieve money for drugs that they had put out on credit. One of them was armed with a sawed-off shotgun. The other one was armed with a .357 Magnum pistol. We ended up catching one of them that night, but didn't get the other one. But the guy with the shotgun held 5 people at bay with the shotgun right underneath their chin, demanding the money when they weren't even the people. This guy was so strung out on heroin and cocaine that it took me 10 days to get a cohesive statement out of him at the Thurston County Jail. That's how strung out he was.
By that time, the issue of if there was going to be guns or not was a settled decision based on state law and the actions that L&I had taken. But the issue and the arguments concerning the issue continued and continued to this day to some degree.
Our primary concern is the safety of all of our community members, and the fact that our ability to stop violent offenders is nowhere near where it needs to be effective. And it could so easily be there. That's the frustrating part about being a police officer at Evergreen, is that we know what we need in order to accomplish that mission. And we know that it's only a matter of time until a violent offense occurs again on campus. And it's going to be heartbreaking when that occurs if we're not prepared for it.
We officers feel that we are not equipped to deal with an active shooter type situation. I don't know if anyone shared that with you before, but it is concerning. And I think what really bothers us is that when, I don't know who's really making the decision about not providing those tools for us, but I'm going to say it is a poor decision. And a lot of times when we've had the arming issues that come up, which I was involved with in the past, so I know a lot about it, the college has a tendency to make the decisions in a group think tank for the police. I think it's inappropriate. The police, when we have wanted, it's usually the weapon issue, everybody wants to be involved in the decision. Well, it's my life, not their life. I want to protect myself too, as well as the students and the faculty and the staff. Everyone thinks on this campus, oh, nothing's ever going to happen here. This is utopia. Well, it's not. And this is not reality. The reality is somebody from outside the campus could come in here and start shooting, and I'm going to try to protect the community with my 9mm. It doesn't make any sense. And it shows a lot of disrespect to the police. And I know that sometimes when we bring this up to administration, the comment back or the answer back is, well, if you don't like it here, you can leave. Well, what kind of professional police, do you want professional police officers to come to the campus, or do you want security guards that can't make decisions? And nothing against security guards, but you want us here because we can enforce the laws if they have to be enforced. But if you don't want to support real police, then why are we here? You know, why do you want us here to limit us like this? It really is kind of scary for an educational institution to have that mindset that our police don't need weapons, high-powered rifles, because it's never going to happen here, or the likelihood. You tell that to Virginia Tech.
I've said that all along. They should have had rifles and shotguns from day one. They should have had pistols from day one. I mean, we tried. In 1990, I was testifying before the legislature as a police sergeant attempting to make it a state law that all four-year universities had to have fully armed commissioned police departments. And I got fired for my activities in front of the legislature and bucking this administration over. And Labor and Industries came in with a discrimination officer because I had filed an unsafe working condition complaint and ruled in my favor, and I got my job back after 9 months. If you're going to go out and play with the big boys, you better be prepared to play with the big boys. And I think long guns are a necessity on this campus.
Is there more equipment I'd like my officers to have? Heck yeah. I mean, where do you put a stop to that? I mean, the best cars, the best guns, high-powered rifles, to you name it. Sure, I'd like to have all that kind of stuff. But it is what it is.
But is it? In seminar, Evergreen students learn to discuss their ideas in open dialogue with each other. Perhaps it is time for Evergreen to have a collective seminar to host an open dialogue on these important issues.
I've been involved in the Police Services Community Review Board since the fall of 2009, I believe. So that's a group that meets periodically to, one, hear any complaints that might arise about how police services have interacted with folks on campus or dealt with particular situations. And one of the other functions is to make sure that the community is aware that such a review board exists.
I would love to see, especially if there are complaints or issues that want to be brought forward, I would love to see more people coming to the Police Services Community Review Board and bringing them forward. We've seen very few issues over the years that I've been on the board, and it'd be great to see these things, because then we can help bring, the point of the board is to bring together student perspectives, to bring together staff perspectives, bring together faculty perspectives, all in one community, and try to engage and deal with issues and challenges that may be brought up. And I think it's a great opportunity, frankly. If folks have something they want to say and don't want to talk to the police, maybe it's not even at this point a police matter, it would be useful for them to bring this forward. And there are other resources on campus too, of course. There's the CARE Network, there's student groups, there are a wide variety of different people you can talk to, but I would suggest that folks who want to work through issues or have issues that they feel aren't being addressed, to bring them forward.
When I think of dialogue, I think of people who are genuinely interested in sort of learning about and hearing from different perspectives. And so if there are people who are interested in dialogue, then that's always a good thing. And my hope is that that's inherent in being a member of the Evergreen community, and people want to invest in dialogue around police presence or how police interact with the community. So I think it can be incredibly important.
I guess the campus police are considered them friends and colleagues on the campus. The community certainly includes police, it includes people of all kinds of different occupations, and I guess my point in making mention of that is that to generalize to campus police is kind of robbing them of their humanity.